This week I've been mostly playing Orcs Must Die 3. That's the third game in the series, not a call to arms. In Orcs Must Die, you are tasked with protecting your fortress from increasingly difficult waves of orcs and their allies attempting to enter your dungeon core. The game does have a story to it, and I can't say I understood any of it. It mostly revolved around a pair of hipsters doing something with their increasingly aggravating voice lines that wouldn't stop. Maybe I'm just a bitter old man, but they were quite annoying. In order to stop the orcs, you place down traps of varying different abilities and elemental damages in order to try and stop them. Unfortunately, this is never enough, so you need to always fight the orcs manually using your own weapons in third person, which is fine. I'm in two minds about this. I'm quite a lazy player, so I would prefer to have the traps do all of the work, but I do feel the game would be less engaging if that was the case. I started using a melee weapon near the end of the game, and it was less interesting. I just stood in the way of orcs holding down left click, which wasn't as fun as using a flamethrower or something, where you have a bit more control over what you're doing. So, whilst in my mind I think I'd like less combat, I don't think it would benefit the game any. The game is single player and co-op, and I think the game is far better in co-op. I played a fair bit on my own, and I did enjoy the game, but it certainly wasn't incredible. But co-op, it really is. It allows you to focus on different areas more, you can take different traps with you, or just a sheer ability to have different ideas. You know, oh, this might work well with this. Oh, I didn't think of that. Is a nice feeling. So it rewards you having a co-op partner, which is nice. Despite not paying any attention at all to plot, I do like the world. Everything has a lovely colour palette to it. It's quite loud and bright. The animations of the orcs are goofy and over the top. They have great voice lines as they're flung about the map. It does help. It's quite a viscerally gory game, however, due to its art style it makes it not horrific. I feel if it was more realistic it would be a lot less fun to have a horrible death chamber where they get smushed into tiny pieces. The big thing that they wanted in Orcs Must Die 3 was the war scenarios, which are bigger maps with more enemies, and you have bigger traps you can only use on these maps. Whilst this sounds great, I didn't really enjoy them. The traps can only be placed outside, which means often you're using the same traps inside where there was a bottleneck instead of the fun and exciting new traps, because this armoured knight wouldn't stand inside and had to be outside. Quite frustrating. And unfortunately you can't play them in endless mode either, so I assume that's for technical reasons, but unfortunately I was quite looking forward to that. I've also added a new enemy type as well, the imps, who are probably my favourite in the game. They look really good. They're great sound work, great design work. Unfortunately though, they are completely immune to fire, which makes them quite frustrating to fight against. I was using a flamethrower for the first half of the game, which rendered that completely useless. Yes, it still kills orcs quite effectively, but if I'm only killing half them or having to swap weapons out, it's not very efficient. I don't think they ruined the experience, but they did cut down the amount of items I was using quite a bit. I found a good combo between fire dart traps and oil, which combo into do more damage. All the traps can level up, which is a nice addition. You'll get the basic things of just more damage or cheaper, but then there's always a special one which can change the weapon a fair bit. You can turn like the ice wall traps into acid, which makes them completely different and useful in different ways. It helps a lot with a co-op partner because they can take the other upgrade as well. So there's two types of barricade, one which is tougher and one which takes up 2 spaces. And so yeah, having us take one of each was really handy. I bought the complete edition, so I had the 2 DLCs in it as well. And unfortunately it feels like all of the traps and weapons in it are more interesting. Not necessarily better, but I found I'd taken all the traps from the DLC without realising, because they just appealed to me more. To begin with, I was a bit annoyed the idea that they put in all the best stuff in the DLC, but I think it shows more feedback. I mean, they've taken on board what people have said and made more interesting traps. Because one of the DLCs, the older one, is pretty dull. It's just a few missions, they're not very exciting, they're not very interesting. But then the second one essentially fixed every problem we had with map design. It was far more engaging, far more interesting, and I will probably be all of the footage in this video because I just want to play it again. Yeah, I think that's good. And it came out not long ago as well, so they're still working on it, which you're never sure with these games if they're going to continue with it or not. I think my biggest gripe with the game by far is it doesn't want to tell you anything. There is a vine trap, which it took me all game, the whole playthrough of the campaign, to work out how the damn things worked. It was saying if you upgrade it, then it will take less to grow. Okay, so it gets bigger and does more damage. That makes sense. No, it turns out it will physically grow to other areas, which I didn't realise. I thought my co-op partner was just putting them down as well, and I just didn't notice. So it took playing it solo and just watching the damn things to see what happens. And I feel it should just be in the description. Same with elements. I finally found what all the elements do, again, after we finished. You have to go to the main menu, then you have to go to the menu screen, like when you press escape, and then you've got to go to help, and then scroll through to the end. It's just, why? It doesn't make any sense to me. The game needs a beastlery. It needs somewhere I can go to see in detail what all the traps do, just a little bit more of what they do. Maybe somewhere easier to see the price and just the raw damage of them, and what all the elements do, and then what all the enemies do as well. So things like gnolls who go straight for you, they just purely want to kill you. It turns out it doesn't have any points penalty to going through the rift, but it doesn't feel very clear. Annoyingly, on the DLC page it gives you more information, but I'm not going to check there when I'm in-game. This is a minor gripe, really. I just feel the game needs a bit more information, because when you are playing on harder difficulties, you need to know exactly what's going on and have the exact right setup, or else you just won't win. It feels more of a puzzle, which is nice, actually. I like that they have these harder difficulties and they do feel distinct to playing them. The DLC also has lids that have quite an adorable run to them, so that's a definite positive there. But in general, I would really recommend Orcs Must Die 3. They've polished out pretty much all the issues the previous games had. A few minor gripes, but definitely not anything that ruined the experience for me as I played. And there's still plenty of weapons I've not used yet, so I've still got a fair bit left in it if we play it anymore. So yeah, Orcs Must Die 3 gets a thumbs up from me, and have a nice day.
Winning is something I have grown accustomed to.